Hello, my name is Father Demetri. Today, just like usual, again am being taught such great lessons from my little boy. Dealing with him, again, like I said, as a father, as a dad, I learn a lot from him. I always look to him for the understanding of how I need to understand other people. A lot of times, we expect people to be who we want them to be. They don't measure up to who we expect them to be. Sometimes that includes our parents, sometimes that includes our children, sometimes that includes our friends, the priest at your church, the pastor at your church, whoever it is. We always expect, or we've built this image of those people in our minds, and we expect them to be who we want them to be. Earlier I was telling my son, him not to do this or something like that, and I was trying to discipline him, and he says, "All right, Daddy, I promise I won't do it again." And he says, "But I probably will." And I looked at him and I said, wow, what a profound statement. He promises that he would never do that thing again, but he knew in his heart that he probably will. Of course, our goal as Christians, we want to change so that we never do the things that we don't want to do. But oftentimes, I know, as having experience doing confessions, that a lot of times, and even with my own personal life, going to confession as well, I know a lot of times that I have asked forgiveness for the same thing over and over again, and I fully intend on not doing it. And more than likely, more than often, I end up doing the thing that I don't want to do, sometimes the same day that I've done confession. God, He knows exactly who we are. But in our minds, for whatever reason, we think that we need to be harsh on the people that we love. We need to be above beyond understanding because we raise them as parents, or when we are raised, and as our parents raise us, they look at us and they teach us what they know. My mom and my dad, they weren't equipped to answer all the things that are going on with what's happening today with the coronavirus or anything like that. Yes, right now both of their parents are out of the house, but it's a different circumstance. It's something that's happening that none of us could have predicted. And my parents, when they taught me about all the things that I needed to learn, they taught me what they knew. They taught me what they understood. They taught me what they brought into their mind, what they brought into our house, what they brought into our education. When I was educated by my dad, when I was taught by my dad, it was a little bit harsher than what I dealt with my children. He came from a place, from a country that discipline was much different. I tend to try to talk to my son a lot more than I did, and even with my oldest, who's now 25, a couple days ago, I now am a completely different person than I was at that time when I was teaching him than I am now teaching my youngest son. And they're completely different people. I can't teach or train the same way. Plus, I've learned a lot more about God. I've understood a lot more about who the Father is. I've understood a lot more who Jesus Christ is in my life. I've understood a lot more of what the Holy Spirit does to me. So I try to change, and I try to be all things to all people, and I try to be what I can to all people. And when they ask me a question, I try to look at it from all sides. And sometimes it happens very quickly. I get a question, and I have to answer it. I have to assess, I have to think, and I have to imagine what's going on with the whole situation. Sometimes people call me and they're beside themselves. Sometimes people call me and they're like, this is the end of the world. And I said, okay, we'll take a step back for a second and take a breath. Well, this person's not treating me the same way. This person's treating me the way that I don't expect them. And I said, okay, what are you expecting them to treat you as? And a lot of times they look to me, or they answer me, I expect them to be what I want them to be. Not in essence, that's not literally what they're telling me, but in essence, and when it all boils down to it, we expect people to be who we want them to be. If we ourselves cannot be the people that Christ expects us to be, how on earth can we expect other people to be the same way? If every one of us truly took the commandments to love the Lord our God with all of our heart, all of our soul, and all of our mind, and treat our neighbor as ourselves, there would be no war, there'd be no rioting, there'd be no anger and frustration, because ultimately, if we're aimed to make everybody as happy as we want to make God, everybody would be happy. But a lot of times we are selfish, a lot of times we're guilty of the same thing over and over again, and we end up criticizing, we end up judging, and we end up looking at people and expecting them to be more than they are capable of. Especially when our parents get older, they're grandparents. They're no longer parents. Their mind changes, their mindset changes, their experiences have changed them. And when they deal with our children, we get frustrated if they don't discipline them the way that we want them to discipline them. We get frustrated when they talk to them or allow them to get away with things that they would have possibly never allowed us to get away with. I know it's happened to me, and I guarantee it's probably happened to every one of us that still have parents that are still alive helping us or are in the same realm as our children. God is very understanding, and He is ever merciful, and many times we often put people on the same level as God. Why do you think there's so many people that are upset out there? Because they have a bad image of who God is, because of their father, because of the people in this world, because of other Christians. We often look and we often understand and we often judge God according to what other people do. But we need to expect people to be who they are. We don't need to put them on a pedestal. We just need to put them in a place where we can see them through Jesus's eyes. And that's the key to any of those things, is to see people as Christ would see them. As a priest myself, I try this so hard every day. I try this, and I do it when I listen to people, when I hear people, when I talk to people, and when they give me some sort of thing, when they come to me during confession, I don't look at them on shock and awe when they confess something that I can't believe that they would have possibly done, because I expect anybody can come and confess anything to me at any time. It doesn't matter what the sin is. It doesn't matter what they've done. It's not my place to look at them in shock and awe, because I expect people to be who they are. Sometimes I fail, sometimes I mess up, and a lot of times people expect me to be more than who I am, especially my wife, especially my kids or my family. They expect me to be somebody who I'm not. And I pray that they can look at me as a person that is striving to be like Jesus, but really I'm just a man that's working out the details in his life. I'm just a man that tries my best to become the best Jesus that I can be. But until I draw my last breath, that's what my goal is, to try to be the best man I can be. And when I look at people, I will just expect to see who they are, not who I expect them to be. So may the Lord bless you and protect you and keep you safe always. Trust in the Lord with all of your heart and lean not on your understanding. Have a good day.